Hi, and welcome to Black Heroes, presented by AT&T Dream in Black. What's up, y'all? I'm Shannon Cross, Senior PR Marketing Specialist, podcaster, and host of Black Heroes here on HBCU Digital Network. And the Black hero we're celebrating today is Jason Keith.
Hey, Shannon, how you doing?
Well, you are using your talents and skills to fight for and establish better civil rights for folks across North Carolina. And you're an HBCU alum. Now, right now, you're working with attorney Benjamin Crump on a pretty high profile case. This is concerning a North Carolina pastor who led a march to the polls and then got arrested during that march. Can you just talk to me a little bit about what it's like to work on that case?
Well, I'll just say anytime that you can affect justice is profound. That case represents the reason why I actually decided and I wanted to practice law in the first place.
Oh, wow.
That it was an October 29th event. It was a march to the polls, and Graham has had some racial pockets of pocket racists. And we've actually done some Black Lives Matter protests, but that one turned violent. I actually wasn't at that one, but what we did as a result of that is we formed a legal team to try to support Mr. Drumright. And I think there was approximately 11 other protesters. We're currently involved in that litigation as we speak. I've already tried, I want to say 8 to 9 trials. And we have court on Monday for the appeal because some of the cases downstairs, the persons were found guilty by a local judge in Alamance County.
Thank you so much for that work, that important work that you're doing on that case. What was it about law that really drew you to it?
Well, just this. You got to understand. So one of the things I realized early on is that having a voice is very important. Having passion is one thing, but also having a voice is very important. And you can have a voice, but being able to move and to make things happen is another goal of mine. And so the law degree allows me to affect change. I'm on the front lines. I'm taking the cases. We're doing a case for Fred Cox, who's a kid that was killed in High Point by a Davidson County police officer. Ben Crump's involved in that case as well, and I represent Miss Vivian White. So we have a lot of cases where you understand that the racial injustices that are taking place, that something has to be done about it. We're holding people accountable.
Now, you attended not one, but 2 HBCUs. Can you talk about what those schools were and then how that impacted your career?
You know, the history of me is I actually went to a predominantly white high school. So it was,
Okay.
When I got to my HBCU of North Carolina A&T State, it was culture shock for me, honestly. The love and I actually got to school, and first I was actually in the band and I was coach still. I played the drums, and then from there I pledged alpha. Just the experience HBCU environment is profound. One of the reasons why I came back to Greensboro was because of North Carolina A&T State University. Trying to figure out where would be a good place to start at law practice. One of the things I was able to do was to connect with the campus that had actually given me my head start, which is North Carolina A&T State. And I actually started practicing law there. And then from there, the rest is history. And I'm still currently in Greensboro on the front lines fighting for change.
That's amazing. That's amazing. And I'd say someone who may be struggling to decide whether to attend, it's like PWI versus HBCU. And North Carolina has a ton of great colleges. So it's like, how do you choose between a Duke or North Carolina and then, Central University?
Well, I think it comes down to personal taste, and also it comes down to what you're seeking to study. But I also think that the Black experience, the HBCU experience, is priceless. You look at the homecomings and you look at just the tailgating, and I own a basketball academy. Every year we participate in the parade, so we put about 40 to 100 kids in the parade. We give back. Just being involved in HBCUs. One of the things when I first got there, I was having problems in classes, but they kind of brought me in and they worked with me. So I think it comes down to personal taste, but I I would have to say I'm biased. I would say I always promote and lend myself towards pushing people towards HBCU.
Likewise, likewise. It's always a great choice.
It is. It is.
Now, I'm sure you have a very busy schedule, just handling all these cases and, just fielding all kinds of questions, being in the media as well. How do you manage that busy schedule? What kind of things do you do to start your day and just kind of get through it with peace of mind?
Well, my family's important, my wife, my kids, my family's very important, but I try to maintain a level of consistency. One of the things that I do, and I tell people about, is I run a lot. Every morning, at least 5 days a week, I run 2 miles a day.
Okay.
But one of the things I learned in public speaking, you have to have that endurance. You have to be able to talk. You have to be able to, the last thing you want to do is be out of breath. And I just enjoy it. It's a form of therapy for me, but just trying to be consistent. There really isn't a formula because I'm still figuring it out. I make mistakes, and one of the things I can say as a personal testimony is one of the things that I can tell, and I tell all my clients, is that, I've made mistakes along the way in my aspirations of being an attorney. Even before I was an attorney, I made mistakes. In undergraduate, I made a mistake. After becoming an attorney, I made mistakes. But it's what you do after that that really matters. It's the growth, and it's what my daughter calls the glow up that you really try to focus on. And so the glow up is the focus, and just trying to stay consistent and change the agenda. So
100%. What would you say is one of your biggest learning experiences so far?
The hardest part about what I do is, like, this media stuff, like, it works both ways. So, when you go places, people recognize you, and I might be hanging out with my frat brothers drinking, and somebody might say, also just in terms of just life, my biggest challenges have been, honestly, being transparent with you, is the balance of success and maintaining a personal life. It's difficult. I mean, I've had good times, I've had bad times, I'm very transparent with having marital issues at some point and then having personal issues. My father passed. So balancing that and still trying to be that person, that point of resource for other people during their trying times. And sometimes we come up short. I mean, it's just the harsh reality of it. And there has been times in my life where I was dealing with personal issues, and it was just hard for me to manage my affairs. And during the process, I was responsible for other people's affairs. And outside of that, you learn to balance, and you learn to grow, and you learn to support, and you learn to have people around you that's going to help you. And I am a strong advocate for therapy for everyone. I believe every Black man needs therapy because if it's good now, it's not always going to be good. And if it's bad, at some point in time, it's going to get better. But we need to talk to somebody that can help us clear our mind and help us think things through.
That's so true. So much to learn in the valleys,
Absolutely.
What piece of advice would you give to aspiring attorneys? There's so many people out there that are trying to be the next you. So what do you wish you knew starting out? Mm-hmm.
Form relationships before you form your practice. And I'm going to be honest with this podcast, and it might come back to bite me, but as a young Black attorney, we don't have some of the same resources that other people have, that the other persuasion have.
True.
There is a different sliding scale. There's a different grade for what we do. But relationships will save you. Knowing people that know people will save you. Knowing Ben will save me. You understand? So networking is key. And the harsh reality of it, I didn't actually come in and go to the public defender's office or the DA's office. I worked with an attorney for about 8 months, and I hung up my shingle. I started practicing law, which is great because I had the entrepreneurial spirit, but everybody knew that I was vulnerable. So there's certain pitfalls as a young attorney, that I just didn't know at the time, that I had to learn throughout the course. So my advice to a young attorney would be, get with somebody that's hungry, get with somebody that's willing to eat. I mean, I'm in a jury trial now. I probably had, I would say, 17 jury trials this year. Get with somebody that's not afraid to fight. Now, the only thing about fighting is there is always going to be some backlash.
Now, I got to ask the question that I think a lot of people are wondering. What is it like working with Benjamin Crump? Because anytime you hear about a high profile case, he's right there. And so for you to be in the mix with him, that's big time.
Yeah, Ben is the GOAT. Ben is, Ben is the GOAT. That's all I can say. Ben is on the front. He's on the front lines. And even when you hanging out with him and he comes around and, he's just the amount of activities that's connected to him is amazing. And he's a mentor for me. He's a person that I will, hit a text message when he's here. I'll say, Ben, what do you think about this? And he provides amazing advice. And Ben's success is recent. Ben for a while was still trying to figure it out, but his success is recent. But once he got to that point, he hit the ground running. And so he's all over the place. Anytime there's a racially charged, racially discriminatory, police brutality case, he's the person that they reach out to. And so just having that person on speed dial, just having access, is having the flex of saying, okay, well, we're going to call a press conference and Ben's going to show up and we got 20 to 30 cameras there. It gives me and Ben and local attorneys an opportunity to reach a broader audience and to affect larger change.
And that's what it's all about, right?
Absolutely.
Well, definitely appreciate you coming on the show. Is there social media handles or a website where people can find out more about what you're doing?
Yeah, and I'm on IG. Facebook is Jason L. Keefe.
Okay.
But the Instagram is probably the best, and it's at Keefe Lawyer, KEITHLAWYER, Keefe Lawyer. Okay. Follow me, inbox me. If you have questions, I'll be glad to answer. I'm blessed to be in a position where, a lot of times I don't charge to answer simple questions, because a lot of the stuff that we need is we need to support one another.
Well, that'll do it for this episode of Black Heroes on HBCU Digital Network. Make sure you keep it locked and, stay engaged and find out when the latest episodes drop. You can find all of that on hbcudigital.com. Also, make sure to follow us on our social pages. That's Facebook, Instagram, and more.
Inspired? You should be. AT&T has continued their commitment to HBCUs with the launch of AT&T Dream in Black Rising Future Makers. Connect with the inaugural class of 25 HBCU students and watch them rise at att.com/dreaminblack.